Howdy, Chapparoos. Currently in Fort McMurray at the moment. I'm actually just away to start work tomorrow after, 8 months off, I think. We've started back work this week, so yeah, we've got to make the money for next season. But check it out, it's beautiful here. This is the Athabasca River. It's almost completely frozen. Anyway, yeah, there was just a couple of things I wanted to say about this next video. It's not in chronological order to our last video. In fact, we filmed this on our very last sail. Anyway, we thought it was kind of important to do this because it covers, the end of the season. And we talk about, a list of things that we weren't prepared for before Liveaboard Life. Anyway, without further ado, hope you enjoy. Well, it's still raining, as you can see, and look, we've got our wetsuits on. Woo! Not bad. Well, how's it going? I think the last time you saw us dressed like this was for the Fort William edition of the World Cup downhill race, eh?
Scotland.
Alright, but it's our last sail, isn't it?
Last sail. On the way
for the winter.
Yeah, on the way to our winter marina now.
Our minter marina.
A minter marina.
Kind of whittled down, a couple of things that we thought we'd like to share about Liveaboard Life and some of the things that we definitely weren't prepared for.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things you can read up and watch other people's videos and try to gain experience, but until, this is your life day in, day out, it's a different scene.
Sailing is really slow.
It's crazy slow.
I mean, you don't feel like it when you're on the sea because it's wonderful. It's a really pleasant experience to slow down and take in everything that's going on around you, and I've been a little bit obsessed with seagull slow-mos at the moment. But yeah, I mean, something that would otherwise be a trip of an hour and a half in a car, for example, is an 8-hour sail.
Yeah.
Then means that you really need to prepare for these things. So if you see a storm coming, you need to be well in advance prepared and pick where you're going to take shelter, because you don't want to be out in that.
So we had a few other salty dogs and we told them about our kind of rough plans for season 1 and 2 and maybe into season 3, what we kind of had thought that we wanted to do. And then everybody's like, it's crazy, you got to go slower, you want to check all these places out, and we're like, no time, we've got the whole world to see. And we'll just hell-bent on, just seeing all these countries and sailing to all these different spots. But I guess that comes in behind point 1, where you realise how slow sailing is. Like, it's a proper expedition. You got to provision and you got to be prepared, and it takes a lot out of you. So I think that's something that we weren't as prepared for, and just, we need to slow down. I mean, for it to be more enjoyable, you want to go shorter distances. You want to be able to just go out for a day sail, no farther than like 25 nautical miles, a couple of hours, and then you get into your Anchorage, you're still fresh and the sun's still up.
Noises. That includes loud splashes. When you're sleeping at the bow, just the flow of the water going past the bow, the crazy wave slaps that you get on the stern, and certain weather conditions as well just exacerbate the loud stern slaps.
Yeah, number 1 recommendation for our crew coming on board is bring earplugs.
Yeah, you need earplugs. You can't be on here without earplugs. And even that day where we anchored in 44 knots, 41, 43, 44. It was loud. It was really loud.
Yeah.
Howling.
Once the wind starts howling through the rigging, and yeah. So when you're on the ocean, you're on Poseidon's clock. So it doesn't matter, we get so used to, in a car, you look on Google Maps and you get a pretty accurate view on how long a trip's going to take. But on the ocean, you can go on Navionics and see the distance, but it's not until you actually get out on the water and you see what the sea state's like and the wind's like, and you can't guess. It's hard. You can estimate, but when you actually get out and get underway, we'd like to think we average 5 knots, but in reality, it's way less, because by the time you slow down coming in somewhere, or make a sail change and lose a bit of speed.
Yeah, it's worth kind of maybe trying to parse that out a little more as well, about just a disconnect of all the preparation you do in the morning or the evening, looking at all the apps and the weather and the wind direction and the swell. But then when you get into the water, it is just completely different. I'm just making some soup. It's definitely a soup kind of day. The old Rowley Anchorage. I love sailing, but it's definitely, when things are messing with your sleep, it can get pretty tense.
Yeah, a few days of interrupted sleep and you start to crack. Sometimes it looks calm, but it just gets you, and it just gets this rock going, and next minute, your tow rail's in the water either side, it's rolling so much, and everything inside's crashing in the cupboards, and it's hard to sleep during those conditions.
Yeah, you just can't sleep, and then, you're worried when you have guests on board because it's not normal. Man, there's been a couple of Rowley Anchorages, like in Tormina, where honestly it felt like the mast was touching the water. It was insane. All 3 of us just woke up and were just like, what the? This is insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jobbo was a total hero that night, because he got out in the dinghy at like 5, 6 in the morning, and I think it was just as the sun was starting to rise, and got out a stern anchored, and it held us for maybe like 4 hours, and we were able to get a little bit of kit.
You've been using our stern anchor. Stern anchor, tally ho. Which we didn't think we were going to need at all, but I'm glad we kept it now.
Yeah, it's really saved us in a lot of spots, the stern anchor. It doesn't really work when it's heavier winds, but it does work when there's a bit of wind.
Good.
We should point out the anchor we're using for the stern anchor is our old front anchor. So we replaced that with Roxanne. We were going to get rid of it or sell it, but we decided to keep it, and I'm really glad we did now.
Yeah, that's a 20 kilo Bruce. Well, for now. Engine troubles. So, we've been intermittent engine troubles all season. I mean, I guess that's just the way it goes, an engine in a boat. It's not your primary thing, so you don't give it your full attention, but we've been having some troubles. The first was the fuel filter issue. That was my fault. I tried to fit the wrong filter. My bad. We're in a tough spot. We needed to leave. Anyway, so I fixed that problem, but now our biggest issue is when the boat gets on a lean, because we have this long flat fuel tank, all the diesel goes to one side, it sucks in air and your engine stops. I don't know why they made a boat like this and didn't have a triangular tank or a header tank near the engine. It seems like it's an easy problem to fix, but here we are. So that's one of the hassles that we're having right now, because we're down to like a quarter of a tank of diesel, which is still 30 litres, which it still would be able to motor for hours and hours on 30 litres. So it's a bit frustrating that you just can't get it all out. And we just had a few other niggling small things with the engine, but hopefully next season we're going to replace some parts on her, have some better spares, have some better tools, so we'll be in a better position to deal with it.
Definitely weren't prepared for how much we would use Jesus, our Autopilot, which is funny because a couple of those sailors that just helm all the time, But we've used them heaps, and it's awesome because you can just pop them on and go do stuff. We've got editing to do, we've got boat work to do, we've got having a coffee on the bow and chatting for a couple of hours to do. I mean, it's nice. It means you can enjoy longer sails. We've done a lot of sort of 8 to 12 hour sails. We've done a lot of even, our 3-day passage, and then a couple of days we're just sailing non-stop for days consecutively. So you don't want to be in the helm that whole time. Yeah, we've only done one really long passage, the one we did from Kalamata in Greece to Britannia in Sicily, which was what, 3.5 days?
Yeah, 3.5 days.
Yeah, and it was our first proper long passage, 3 nights at sea. But we were beaten the whole way, and there was a lot of waves and all the rest of it, so it was quite a challenging sail.
Yeah.
But we just felt so awesome after it. you can't beat that feeling of accomplishment at all. It's something that people don't really tell you about, and I really like it. It feels great. It felt really great to come into the port of Catania and be like, oh, we made it. We did it.
Properly being in a different country, different language, it's really cool. Sailing internationally like that is a wild feeling.
Being able to get to places by nature, by wind, by solar.
Yeah, it's kind of like a sailboat's a super unique kind of off the grid experience, because it's not like off the grid in a vehicle or a house. It's like if it works out perfectly, even your movement is kind of renewable, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean the sails can, even though we said earlier sailing is slow, it is incredible how much the wind can fill your sails and you can just arrive at different places. We just had 2 days there of really majestic downwind sailing.
Yeah.
Not too crazy waves, and we couldn't have asked for a better end to the season, really. So, no complaints.
Perfect.
Well, that's it. 10 things that we weren't prepared for, and we've bloody missed heaps, like naked sailing.
Naked sailing, excellent fun.
Yes, and you're having your own private island in the most popular spots.
Wow.
Should we
Didn't time that.
get a beer for this? Landriva.
Till next year. 2020.
Well, thanks very much for watching. I hope you could relate to some of those things. And if you have any things that you didn't think of before you became a liveaboard, or if you just simply have a question about anything, leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. And remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Alright, see you in the next one. Good to see you, ladies and gentlemen. This is it, it's our last hour.